On August 11th, 2024, just last month in Gary, Indiana, 13-year-old Janiyah Aubrielle McMichael-Rogers would leave the house she shared with her mother Jasmine McMichael and her siblings in a rush. The night before the first day of school, she would have a disagreement with her mother and run to her room and slam the door. The next morning, her mother Jasmine would get up early to get the kids up and ready for school. When she noticed the front door was ajar, alarmed, she would go on to check on her children, going room to room. That's when she noticed the back door was also unlocked and her daughter Janiyah was nowhere to be found. She noticed some of Janiyah's clothing was also missing. Panicked, Jasmine would alert the police and report her missing. She reported that Janiyah was spotted on surveillance camera and got into a car with an individual, but investigators say this isn't true and can't corroborate the claim. What happened to Janiyah? Is there something more to this story? According to some reports, the last time anyone has physically seen Janiyah was in June of this year. But why was she reported missing on August 11th? I smell foul play. Does mom and her girlfriend Kiera have something to hide? Welcome back to the Strange Bar and Grill. Today we have an interesting case for you. The missing persons case of Janiyah McMichael-Rogers. Janiyah's real name is Janiyah Rogers, as stated on her birth certificate. She was born to Antonio Rogers and Jasmine McMichael. Shortly after Janiyah was born, her parents split up and Janiyah would live with her mother on the 1900 block of Virginia Street in Gary, Indiana. She's the oldest of 6 siblings, and not much is known about her childhood. But it sounds like she had a rough upbringing. CPS would be called to her household regularly, with over 20 reports filed. Family and friends claimed that living conditions in her mother's home were below standard and could be seen as a health concern. According to Janiyah's father, Jasmine hasn't allowed him to visit her for years. Even when he would spot her out at a community event and he attempted to speak to Janiyah, he would be threatened with physical violence, and at one point was jumped by Jasmine's boyfriend and her friends. Eventually, out of frustration, Antonio would stay away. Jasmine had a history of alienating her children's fathers, as the father of her other 6 children had been banned from visiting their children and met similar fates. On August 10th, the night before her disappearance, which was also the night before the first day of school and also happened to be one of Janiyah's siblings' birthday, Jasmine, Janiyah, her mom's girlfriend, Kiera Bates, and her 6 siblings were all having a good time celebrating, according to Jasmine, until she and Janiyah got into a heated argument over whether Janiyah was pregnant because she noticed she wasn't using any pads. She stated that if she's pregnant, she'd beat and kick the baby out of her. After hearing her mother talk to her like that, Janiyah ran to her room and slammed the door. And that was the last time anyone has seen or heard from her, according to Jasmine. Jasmine stated that she got up around 12:45 a.m. to use the restroom and noticed her back door was unlocked and her front door was cracked open. When she noticed it, she closed and locked both doors. She then went upstairs to check on the kids and noticed Janiyah was gone. While she was standing in Janiyah's room, she noticed empty coat hangers hanging up in the closet. She also noticed a pile of school supplies on the floor, as if she dumped out her book bag. Her mother stated she was wearing a black hooded sweatshirt, black pajamas, and black and red shoes at the time of her disappearance. This detail stands out to me because her mother wouldn't know what clothing she left the house in because she didn't see her when she left. Plus, she said her Ring doorbell camera wasn't functioning. During an interview with Antonio Rogers, Janiyah's father, he explained that CPS contacted him earlier in the year and he was told Janiyah was pregnant by a family member, the aunt's child's father. He expressed it's not a rumor and it was proven with a kit. A few months later, Janiyah was reported missing. Is this just a coincidence? Antonio Rogers and Janiyah's grandmother, LaTanya Rogers, hired a private detective, Kevin Collinz, who goes by the name of KC Bodyguard. Jasmine would eventually try firing the private investigator. Yeah, the one that she didn't hire. And we'll get into the why of that later. During the investigation by KC Bodyguard, he would visit Jasmine's house. There, he would ask Jasmine and her girlfriend a series of questions to figure out if they may have any information on Janiyah's whereabouts, looking for anything that could lead to the safe return of Janiyah. He asked if she would go over the night in question and asked to see Janiyah's room. She showed him the empty coat hangers and where Janiyah seemingly dumped out her school supplies on the floor. But one detail stood out. Janiyah's bed didn't have any sheets or blankets on it. When confronted with this detail, Jasmine stated that she had just put them in the wash before he got there, but the investigator didn't smell laundry in the air. KC would go on to ask if Janiyah had social media or a cell phone. Jasmine and her girlfriend would both say no, she doesn't have either. That turned out not to be true because Janiyah's sibling would state that she's seen her talking on the phone at all times of the day. This seemed to anger both Jasmine and Kiera. The investigator would go on and ask the couple if they knew of places where Janiyah might play. They directed him to an abandoned school around the corner, a strange place for kids to play. But he would search the abandoned school where her and her friends used to hang out. They would go on to search all areas of Gary, Indiana and East Chicago. During his investigation, he noticed Jasmine had a Ring camera, but Jasmine stated that the camera was turned off and wasn't in service. So here's my question. How did Jasmine know what clothing she left the house in? The investigator also discovered a history of Janiyah and the second oldest daughter running away from home. When Jasmine was asked about this, she would just laugh and say, "She ran away from home like I used to." What is going on in this house? Gary Police Department has been criticized for not helping in this case. There have been many reports of them not following up on tips and are just flat out ignoring family members. There was a petition raised to force the GPD to put out an Amber Alert. GPD says the case doesn't deserve an Amber Alert, but issued a Silver Alert. She's a 13-year-old girl. Issue the damn Amber Alert. For those that don't know the difference between an Amber Alert and a Silver Alert, the Silver Alert is modeled after the Amber Alert. The Amber Alert was created to help locate and safeguard missing children, like in Janiyah's case. However, in most states, the Silver Alert applies to the elderly, adults with a mental impairment, or both, depending on the state. So not sure why they issued a Silver Alert and not an Amber Alert. It just seems like a slap in the face. Janiyah's father tried numerous times to file a missing persons report, but was given the runaround by GPD. They asked did she go missing in Indiana or Chicago, but Janiyah resides in Gary, Indiana. Just take the damn report. Dahlia James, Janiyah's grandmother on her mother's side, has been searching non-stop for Janiyah. She's been going out every night for hours upon hours searching. She's very determined to bring her granddaughter home safe and sound. Now, according to the father, the last time anyone has actually seen Janiyah was on June, on the last day of school. Dahlia James stated she hadn't seen Janiyah since June 2. This is especially strange because Janiyah frequented that grandmother's house. This brings up an important question. Who can actually verify on the night of August 11th Janiyah was actually there? The only people that can verify this information would be Jasmine, her girlfriend Kiera, and the little kids. Could Jasmine and Kiera be lying? When asked about who could have last seen Janiyah, Jasmine immediately started pointing fingers at this little boy, Lakeith, who went to school with Janiyah. She claimed that Janiyah was being held against her will. She went on to accuse Lakeith and his mother of detaining her daughter.
So what we have to do is let Casey take the lead on everything. Whatever we get, we have to give to him so him and his team can do it. We are not going to get her by ourselves. They're not going to give us to her. They're not going to give her to us. So let them, whatever lead you get, if you don't want to send it to me, send it to him and let them take the lead. Because the boy just called him. He ain't calling mom. They're the one offering the reward money now. So now they're really going to give him information. So he has to take the lead on everything. I'm even stepping back and letting him do his thing. Now that we know that she's being held against her will with this McKeith guy, we can't do shit but let him take lead, or we're going to go pick her up and we're going to have to put her in a body bag. And I don't want that.
Jasmine and her mother would aggressively harass Lakeith to the point where police were called. Jasmine never expressed a reason why she believed Lakeith had something to do with it, or why him and his mother would be holding her captive. With tensions mounting, the private investigator was able to set up a meeting for Jasmine and Lakeith's mother to get on the phone and talk out their disagreements. Lakeith's mother agreed to the call because she wanted to prove that she had nothing to do with Janiyah's disappearance. She was tired of her and her children getting harassed every day. She just wanted to clear her name, so they agreed to set a time for a conference call. But when the time came, Jasmine ignored the calls and simply wouldn't pick up. She flat out refused to talk to Lakeith's mother. The investigator would ask Lakeith and his mother to join a live to get her side of the story and a chance to clear her name.
I really wish she was at my house and I would have knew she was safe. And I keep telling your people when they first came over here, I really wish they would have let you get in contact with me. And I asked them before y'all even started bringing the police over here, if they want to walk through my house themselves, and me and my family could have stepped outside, I would have had no problem. But like I said, I really wish she was at my house and I knew she was safe. And I'm sorry y'all going through this.
The following day, after the live, Jasmine would attempt to fire Kevin Collinz, aka KC Bodyguard, as the private investigator. But he wasn't hired by Jasmine. He was hired by LaTanya, Janiyah's grandmother on her father's side. Ultimately, Lakeith and his family was investigated and cleared of any wrongdoing. At this time, they are not implicated in the disappearance of Janiyah. Once they were cleared, the fingers pointed back to Jasmine, and that was just the first red flag. The second red flag would be when Jasmine would go on to tell investigators that Janiyah and the second oldest daughter were repeatedly by Jasmine's sister's boyfriend or child's father, and that she didn't report it or do anything to protect them. Is this true? Why would she continue to allow her children over there? And could he be the father of Janiyah's child? The third red flag was when the investigator and search team would go out searching and attempt to raise awareness. Jasmine wouldn't attend. She would always decline. She stated it's because she had warrants and didn't want to deal with the police. Now, I don't know about you, but if my child's missing, I'm getting out there and I'm searching. I'm spreading her name out there. I'm getting awareness out there. I don't care about warrants. I'm turning the city upside down. It just seemed like her daughter wasn't a priority to her, and she wasn't taking this serious. The fourth red flag was when the investigator asked Jasmine to put together a video to raise awareness of her daughter's disappearance. Of course, Jasmine declined, stating that she doesn't know what to say in the video, so the investigator would have to tell her what to say. And this was the video that was produced.
What up? It's your boy KC again. Currently out here in Gary, Indiana again, looking for a 13-year-old girl that's been missing since Sunday. This is the mom, and she want to tell you a little bit more about her daughter.
My daughter's name is Janiyah McMichael. She's 13 years old. She's about 4 feet tall. She was last seen leaving home off of Virginia Street in Gary, Indiana, around Sunday night. If y'all have any leads, Janiyah, if you see this baby, you can come home. Please come home. That's all we want. We want to know that you're safe and that you are okay. If you don't want to come home to me, reach out to an aunt, reach out to one of your grandmas, cousins, somebody to let us know that you are okay. We want you and we want to come get you, please.
Share this. Don't just let this, watch this, share this, man. Help us spread the word. Bring her home. This is a real life situation. This ain't no joke. So, you call in with tips, please. It'll be serious tips.
Yes, please.
We don't have time for the games. Share this. Help us. If you want to help, get out here search. Feel free to inbox me, DM me, call me, 773-983-2808. Need to bring her home now. From Indiana to Illinois, I need everybody on board again with tagging the news stations, radio stations, the governors, the mayors, everybody needs to be on board.
Please, Janiyah, come home. That's all we want. We out here searching, and we're not going to stop until we get you home.
She wasn't emotional in the video at all, which I know everyone processes emotions and grief differently, but with all of the other red flags that have been adding up, I find this to be strange. Jasmine has been quoted as saying she doesn't want any attention around her missing daughter. She doesn't want her story on the news, the radio, and doesn't want it on social media. So she's really gonna hate me making this YouTube video. She doesn't want to raise awareness in any way, and I wonder why. The fifth red flag, Jasmine stated that Janiyah does not have a cell phone, so they're unable to track her whereabouts using cellular data. But her little sister stated to the investigator that she had a phone and she used it constantly. The sixth red flag, she initially said she noticed her daughter was missing at 12:45 a.m. when she got up to use the bathroom and didn't report it until 8 hours later. That seems a little odd to me. But she would go on later and tell a news reporter that she didn't notice her daughter missing until she got the kids up for school the next morning. The seventh red flag, one day out of the blue, Jasmine would send a screenshot of a vehicle to the private investigator. She claimed that Janiyah got into this car with someone. The investigator reviewed this footage and he cannot see her get into the car with anyone. The car didn't even come in front of the house. The video footage didn't even show Janiyah at all. Still no proof that Janiyah left the house on her own volition. The eighth and final red flag, and let's be honest, there's probably going to be a lot more. Jasmine didn't really want her children anymore. Yes, you heard that correct. Jasmine did not want to be a mother anymore. And text messages reveal she discussed giving up her children to DCFS. In a text message, she said her girlfriend wasn't the reason why she wanted to give her kids to the state, but she made a reference to her children causing issues in her relationship with Kiera. Was she being pressured by Kiera to get rid of her children? Or was this a scheme that she hatched on her own? So with that, let's get into some theories on this case. Be sure to leave a comment on what you think happened. My first theory is Janiyah went missing back in June when school ended. She may have gotten to an argument with her mom because her mom found out she was pregnant and she actually attempted to beat the baby out of her, just like she mentioned to the investigator. And in the process, she accidentally killed Janiyah. I think Jasmine might only be reporting her missing now because school was starting that day. And when Janiyah doesn't show up to school, officials will be knocking on her door asking about Janiyah. She already had CPS applying pressure to her, and she knew it would just be a matter of time. My next theory is that maybe Janiyah ran away. It sounds like the house was toxic and evil, and she could have fled for many possible reasons. Maybe she was pregnant and didn't want to bring her child into that environment. She has a cell phone. Maybe she met up with someone. There was a sighting of her on the 6900 block of South St. Lawrence Street in Chicago's West Woodland, where Jasmine McMichael formerly resided before moving to Gary, Indiana. Now, Jasmine doesn't have any family residing in that area, so it may just be a coincidence that she was sighted there. During Dahlia James's search efforts, there's been reports of a couple harassing the search team, following them around, calling them names, just really dirty type behavior. I don't know if that amounts to them exhibiting some form of guilt, or if they're just adult trolls, but something doesn't sit right with me. And now it's been said that Janiyah is 4 to 5 months pregnant, but who was the father? The answer to the question of what happened to her could be solved if they knew who the father was. Was it the aunt's child's father? Could they be trying to hide the fact that he got her pregnant? Maybe she threatened to tell, and they just couldn't have that happen. And my last and final theory is that the mother and girlfriend just outright killed her and are covering it up for reasons unknown. Maybe she was cramping their style, or maybe she was hard to control because she was the oldest. But what do you think? Let me know in the comment section. Kevin Collinz, aka KC Bodyguard, doesn't charge to help these families. He performs investigations out of his own pocket, so please donate to his cause. He helps these families find their loved ones and doesn't ask for a thing in return. To send your support, you can Cash App him at $KC Bodyguard 1 or look for that information in the description.